Street Talk and other stuff on this snowy December morning. Looks like we may indeed have a white Christmas. So, but hey, look, on a serious note, all right, this is the first snowfall that's sticking this season. Now, you're getting advice from a street cop for 20 years. Every time it snows, for the first time, there are accidents all day long. You people know how to drive in the snow. You just don't do it the first day it snows. After this, it won't be so bad. I mean, there'll still be the occasional fender bender and that type of thing. But I'm sure the day shift came on at 7 o'clock. I'm sure by now they probably responded to 4 or 5 accidents. Look, just be careful. Remember what it's like, okay? Don't drive the way you did when the streets were clear, okay? All right, so just some advice. It happens the first day it snows. It's not so bad later on. But hey, just be careful. But you know, it is cold out there. It is so cold that politicians now have their hands in their own pockets. It's so cold that Starbucks is selling coffee on a stick. And you know, it's so doggone cold, I saw an Amish person buying an electric blanket. Okay, Street Talk and other stuff. Look, I have got a great guest. This is an annual thing for me, this organization. I love to have them on. You're going to like it. So, hey, Street Talk and other stuff, you stick around. We will be right back. So.
Elevate Home is the newest addition to Chelan's premier shopping district. Shop the latest from American Leather and Bassett Furniture, add in their on-site interior designer, and you'll have everything you need to elevate your space today.
You're invited to experience small-town holidays in iconic Lake Chelan. From local shopping to Santa parades, a getaway visit to Lake Chelan is a great way to make this holiday season special. Learn more at smalltownholidays.com.
It's that time of year again to get the Honda of your dreams during Happy Honda Days, where you'll find great offers on a sporty new Civic, spirited Accord, fun-to-drive HRV, and versatile CRV. So don't wait. Turn your holiday dreams into reality with a new Honda named KBB.com's best value brand. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or visit your local Honda dealer today.
If your chair is comfortable and still fits, don't toss it. Reupholster it at Wenatchee Upholstery. The sky is the limit. From new upholstery in your favorite car to upgrading your seats in the boats. Everything old can be new again when you call Joe. Personalize your golf cart, grandma's chair, your favorite bar stool. Trust your treasure with Wenatchee Upholstery.
Okay, great, we're back, and I am very happy to introduce again Mike Malman, who is the Executive Director of Serve Wenatchee Valley, an organization that's been in Wenatchee for decades. I don't remember exactly how long, but it's been
early 2000s.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Bob Shepard, the whole crew of pastors locally got together, decided to do something special, and Serve was born.
Okay. You are the third executive director. Correct. Bob Shepard, the first one, Tom Neese, and then this is actually your first holiday season.
It is.
With Serve Wenatchee Valley. So.
Yeah, I'm learning a new rhythm.
I'll bet.
It is incredibly busy right now, but it's also a lot of fun. There's a lot of fulfillment with the job. Because, you know, frankly, we have helped a whole bunch of people this season, and we've helped a significant number of people with our regular services across the year. That otherwise probably would have received help, and that's very gratifying.
Okay, well look, before we get into a lot about what the agency does itself, a little bit about you, your background, your expertise. Tell us.
Well,
let's get to know Mike a little bit here.
All over the place. You know, I was born on the West Side.
We forgive you.
Yeah, and here's another one. Went to the University of Washington. I have an undergraduate degree from the University of Washington. And then I was actually a TV anchor. Reporter until I was almost 30 years old, and God called me into ministry. And then for the last 28 years, I've been pastoring churches around the Northwest, but significant amount of the time here in Eastern Washington. We've been in Wenatchee 15 years. I pastored the Nazarene Church. My kids are Wenatchee High School graduates.
Good, cool.
My wife and I have been married 33 years.
Excellent.
And we just love it here. And this is home for us now, and it's been home, and it will be home.
All right. So, taking over Serve Wenatchee Valley, tell us about how that came down and your thoughts about it, how that evolved into you saying, okay, look, I'll take the job.
It's interesting. So, I left the Church of the Nazarene in 2021.
Yeah.
At the, COVID was winding down, and I decided I needed to step away from ministry. I was, like a lot of pastors, I think I was burnt out.
Sure.
I was worn out. Things had gone well, but I think I just needed some space. And so for the first time in my life, I didn't have a job. I got my first job when I was 16 at the Big Scoop Sunday Palace in Kirkland, Washington. And if I quit on Friday, I started a new job Monday. And so quit, and I wound up being reached out to by an organization called Next Step Church Services that deals with a lot of churches in crisis and helping them through a transition. I bought a 31-foot RV, maintained our house here. My wife works here locally, and I'd be 4 days a week on the West Side. 3 days a week over here. I pastored a church in Centralia.
I remember that.
And then I pastored a church in North Seattle. And
that I didn't know.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with the state of Washington at all, you know that Centralia, Washington and North Seattle, Washington are very different communities.
And they're not exactly next door to each other.
They're not next door to each other, and they have a different sort of ethos and vibe. One's very small town, one's pretty progressive, and I enjoyed both places.
Oh, cool. All right. Yeah. Okay, so but your wife was living here the whole time that you were...
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. How'd that work out? Was that like she was happy to have you home for a while?
It's funny now because like our close friends will get together and they'll all go, "How are you doing now that Mike's home? Is everything all right?" Or like they've also like at dinner go, "Boy, Anita really blossomed while you were gone." So we have a lot of friends that are very abrasive. So that's been good. But
your wife would say, "Oh, I love it when he's gone."
She's great. Yeah. You know what it was is we've been married. We're empty nesters. We've been married 33 years, like I said. We kind of thought of it as a date.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're apart 4 days a week. When you're together, we ignored.
It makes it special.
We ignored chores for 3 years, because we only had 3 days together. So we'd be like, that'd be date night or date nights, and we'd hang out either over on the West Side or over here. I lived in a trailer with a dog, which was something I never thought I'd do. It was great. But,
well, I do. I do these occasional trips with my Jersey buddies that last 10 days to 2 weeks. And my wife always says, "I like it when you're gone because I can sleep. You're not rolling around and thrashing in the bed all night long."
Yes.
So, she still likes me, though. So.
Yeah, and my wife still likes me, and I think she's glad I'm home. And I will say now that we're playing catch up on 3 years of neglected chores.
Yeah, okay.
So that's where we're at now.
Oh, cool. All right. Okay, so how did you get the job?
I was sitting, we had actually called a new pastor to town in North Seattle from South Africa, and he and I we're hanging out one day, and I get a call from Tom saying that he was stepping aside and asking if I'd be interested in interviewing.
Really? Okay.
And I was like, I don't know. Let me think about that. Called my wife. We prayed.
But you were at a point of transition anyway when he called, right? You said you were introducing a new pastor.
We're getting ready to call a new pastor there, and so we took You're a believer in Jesus.
Yes, I am. I try.
The answer is let me pray about it, right? Which I'm learning when I deal with volunteers. That's another way of saying I said, let me pray about it. I actually prayed about it. My wife and I prayed about it. I got a call from another lady who used to work for Serve Wenatchee. She was actually on the search committee, and she reached out to me unbeknownst to Tom and said, Mike, we've got this opening. Would you consider? I'm on the search team. So I have two people calling me, and for me, I think I got to take that seriously.
Sure.
I have no background running a nonprofit.
Yeah.
My interview was fun and funny.
Yeah.
But I was pretty honest with them because I need a job. Because I haven't done this kind of work before. But I was always pretty involved in Serve Wenatchee. My church during the pandemic made significant contributions, both in time and resource to Serve Wenatchee. When all my counseling appointments and meetings got canceled in the first couple weeks of the pandemic, Serve was looking for people to move food around. I had a pickup truck, so I just moved food for them several days a week and did that.
Good for you.
All my meetings were canceled, and I'm not much of a homebody. I like to get out and about doing things, so I just moved food from Safeway down to the town Toyota Center, that big COVID food bank.
I remember.
Did all that during that time, and so I was pretty connected. We thought about it. I came, I interviewed, met with the board, great board of directors. Just felt a real affinity. That was on a Thursday, and they called me back the next day and offered me the job. And,
good, cool.
And so my first day was April Fool's.
So what did your wife say though? Did she say, yeah, Mike, I think you should do it? Or
she was in favor of me doing it.
Good,
she really,
good.
I think, I will say, 3 years apart.
Yeah.
There's some challenges.
Sure, I would imagine.
And Wenatchee's home, we bought a 70-year-old Rambler in East Wenatchee. In 2017, we have been remodeling it ourselves, replumbing, rewiring, doing all that stuff, tiling. And it's our little retirement place. And I think having me home was a thing that she desired. And I love my wife. I want to hang out. And so it was a good fit.
Good.
A lot of trepidation, you're stepping
with a new job like that, particularly never running a nonprofit.
Nope.
I mean, because that's a challenge.
It's a different thing, and people go, "You're a pastor at church." Well, yeah,
they're not the same.
Different things.
No, not the same thing, not at all.
And so I've been spending time kind of getting to know the rhythm. I will also say, getting the new pastor here from South Africa to North Seattle did not go. I mean, it went as planned, but it takes a long time.
Sure.
And so from April 1st through the end of July, I was doing both jobs full time.
Okay.
And I was basically running that church from Wenatchee and then going over and preaching on the weekends.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So you step into the reins. Okay. What did you find? I mean, tell us about what the organization was doing, how it was going, what you saw that you liked, what you thought maybe needed to be changed, or?
Well, I think there was several things that I decided to make initiatives. One of the things I was pretty direct about is you're not hiring a former pastor to be the new director of Serve Wenatchee.
You told your board this.
Yeah, you're hiring a pastor to be.
Right.
That my calling as pastor has not changed.
Okay.
This is just a different way of doing ministry.
Sure.
And so what appealed to me about this job is the fact that it allowed me to put my faith into action.
Okay, good.
I'm also learning it allows me to get into churches and preach. I've preached at multiple churches since I was over here on Sundays full time since August.
Sure.
Preaching at one here over the holidays. And I love that. So the opportunity to still preach existed, that I could preach about specific things dealing with poverty, people in need, the poor, things that Jesus spoke a lot to. And so what I saw, though, was sort of just a need to re-engage.
Sure.
To bring a level of energy. The pandemic brought in an enormous amount of funds to Serve Wenatchee.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, good. Excellent.
But they had been kind of spending through those funds since then.
Sure.
And the reserve had been cut in half over the course of 3 years. And so I think there was a priority to stabilize that.
Okay.
One of the challenges I saw was that a lot of government resources that existed during the pandemic ended, and probably rightly so for many of them.
Right.
But a lot of it, like when the government is involved and people are involved, there was a lot of not a lot of thought given to transition, easing people off. So organizations like ours that are a community nonprofit, when the government money drives up, people would come to us. And so we had seen a significant increase in services.
So you were mentioning that off camera, that you I mean, what's the comparison between your earlier level of service to people as it is now, though?
Yeah, well, let me give you an example.
Yeah,
in 2022, so just 2 years ago,
Sure.
right? Through the end of November, we distributed 75,000 pounds through our food through our Fresh Hope Market.
Okay, all right.
This year, through November, we've distributed 125,000 pounds.
Wait a minute, from 75,000 pounds to
to 121,000 pounds. So 75,000 to 121,000
okay,
pounds.
that's like a 50% increase,
60%.
right? 60%, wow.
In 2 years.
Wow.
The other thing, so that what does that equate to in terms of people?
Sure.
That would have been about a little under 3,000 individual clients in 2022.
Right.
This year we're slightly over 5,000 clients.
Wow.
So from 2,900 to 5,100.
Okay.
So we're seeing a lot more people through. Rental assistance is something that we're going to need to address both organizationally and from a fundraising standpoint, because a lot of that's gone through. We've heard stories about the SNAP funds drying out.
Sure.
And so I think what people don't realize, or maybe what sets Serve Wenatchee apart in a number of different ways, is number one, we are entirely local. Number two, we are entirely privately funded. We do not receive any government grants currently.
And you don't want to receive government grants, right?
You know, at this point, it's not a priority for us.
Okay, all right, okay.
But
maybe I phrased that wrong. But
well, the priority, obviously, the priority is that people need to be fed.
Yeah.
And people need to be housed.
Right.
And right now, we're able to do that through the generous donations of individuals.
Okay.
Of about, I think, 28 churches.
Okay. All right.
And then a growing list of businesses in our valley.
Wow,
I've sort of
excellent.
I've had so many meetings with business owners that are on board, because it gives us the liberty to distribute the funds in ways that we think are appropriate.
Okay.
So, the big thing right now is increased demand and then paying for that increased demand. So.
Okay, all right. I'm going to cut you off right there for a minute because we need to take a break. But hey, street talk and other stuff. We're talking with one of the most important persons in our community as far as social services are concerned, Mike Malman. He is the Executive Director of Serve Wenatchee Valley, an organization that's been around and serving us specifically locally for decades. But we're going to talk more with Mike in a minute, but we need to take a break. So, street talk and other stuff, you stick around. We will be right back.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCWLIFE. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCWLIFE channel.
Hey there, folks. Blueberry Carrie here to invite you on out to experience Blueberry Hills. Of course, the food is fabulous, like our cheese splints, our famous French dip, our legendary Eggs Benedict, and unforgettable burgers. But we're more than just great food. People come from all over the world to experience what's been called one of the best destination restaurants in the Pacific Northwest. So come on out and see what all the fuss is about. Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's where the world is coming to.
It's a hometown celebration Christmas in Cashmere, Saturday, December 7th. It's family fun with a kid shop, live festive music, complimentary warm beverages, and tasty holiday treats. Come enjoy the sights and sounds of the season. Don't forget, Santa Claus arrives at 11, and please visit our sponsors. Gayton's Green Weidenbach. They add value to their clients' projects and contribute to their clients' success. Doan's Valley Pharmacy in the heart of downtown Cashmere. Discover great gifts, and they'll gift wrap for free.
When you've been in business for 40 years, it's because you understand change and you put members first, always. Now Works is announcing a change in their membership model. Up to 6 people on one membership that you can mix and match. The more people, the bigger the discounts. Introducing the Works shared membership model. One membership, friends and family and flexibility. Works, the cleanest, friendliest, most helpful gyms you and your friends will ever join.
Okay, we're back, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Boy, you just interrupted a great conversation Mike and I are going to have about how Jesus interacted with different groups of people. But what is Serve Wenatchee Valley's philosophy of service?
Well, actually, that great conversation and our philosophy of service are deeply interconnected, right?
Yeah, they are.
I took this job because it is a chance for me, as I mentioned earlier, to make my faith active. And for many of our volunteers, our frontline volunteers, that's a similar approach that they have, the folks that are in our offices Monday through Thursday working with our clients. Our philosophy is this: we'll help anybody in need.
Okay.
And
you will help anybody.
We will help anybody in need. There is no litmus test regarding, you do not have to be a Christian to receive our services.
Right.
We will help anybody, and it flows from the conversation we were having at the break there. The reality is that Jesus was routinely sort of in the company of the wrong people, so much so that sort of the righteous of the day looked at him and said, look at that person.
Sure.
He's a friend of sinners.
Right.
Which I've always thought was a little bit of a compliment, right?
Yes. I would love to have people attribute that to me.
He's a friend of sinners. And so, brokenness, we've all been broken at one time. We all, for those of us that point fingers, remember you got three pointing back at you, right? I mean, that's the old saying. And so the bottom line is, while we are a distinctly Christian faith-based organization in our leadership, we help anybody that comes through the door. Now, there are people that we can't help because we don't provide services, and what we do there is direct them to services.
I mean, you don't serve every need that everybody has.
But those that come through our door, we'll try to find a place for them that can help them.
Okay.
We do year-round food, rental assistance, and furniture assistance. And when folks come in, everybody that comes in through our door is interviewed by one of our intake specialists. And a variety of questions gets asked, but what it boils down to is income level as well as family size. So for our grocery store, they come in, they're interviewed. We have a formula that then determines how many points they receive based on family size, income level.
Right.
And then they can go shop with those points in our market to get food that's appropriate for them. And with rental assistance, we're a little more rigorous there. We have very limited funds for that. I'm trying to grow those funds, but we do some pretty significant background checking because we don't want to throw good money into a bad situation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not sustainable. And furniture assistance, if people can get into housing, we can furnish it.
Right.
Right now.
I years ago, I did help with that part of the ministry. Okay, and I know you've got a big warehouse with lots of stuff.
Yeah.
And I have on a number of occasions referred people to you who have said they're moving here, but they need such and such or don't have any furniture.
It's a really funny one for me. That furniture ministry is really interesting to me because when I'm around town, if I'm at a coffee shop, if I'm at a restaurant, I had my little name tag on the other day, and a woman at a coffee shop goes, "Do you know about Serve?" And I go, "I'm the executive director." And she goes, "When we moved here, I was escaping a bad situation. We were able to find an apartment, and you gave us a bed, a dresser, a sofa, kitchen table, things we need." And I hear those all the time. That's very rewarding.
That's great stories. So cool. All right. So what else you've got? You got an event planned today, don't you?
I do have an event planned today. So, right now today, what we're doing is we're setting up. We're loading things up and setting up over at the Nazarene Church across from Wenatchee High School. And then tomorrow, starting early in the morning, we've had about 125 families sign up.
Okay.
Probably affecting about 400 kids who are going to come through and receive a gift. Parents will come through. Parents will come through and select gifts for their children.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we think that's kind of a dignified process. In other words, letting a kid come through and pick something out is one thing, but a parent can come through, pick out the toys they think are appropriate or the gifts they think are appropriate for their children. These are all new items.
Okay, cool.
Go home and wrap them. We actually have wrapping available at the event.
And this is up at the Nazarene Church on Millerdale across from the high school.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good.
And so that's very busy. We got a lot of volunteers up there this morning, and everything will be gone by tomorrow night.
Yeah. All right. Now, what plans do you have for the future? Where do you want the agency to go? What needs are you seeing that you think you could adjust to address, or you know what I'm asking?
Rental assistance is probably a significant one.
It's a big one. Yeah.
We help people, and it's significant with a lot of organizations that do what we do. We help people at 80% of area median income or less. which is currently about $75,000 for a family of 4.
Okay.
The reality is we're helping folks who are far below that, and a majority of people are far below that. So we may see a family of 4 getting by on $40,000, $50,000 a year. Now, when I was getting out of college in 1989, that seemed like a lot of money.
Yeah,
4 people living in a valley where rent for a 2-bedroom apartment is $1,800 a month on average. In a nation and community where food prices have increased 25% since 2019 is a challenge. And so, you know, I think what we're seeing is really simply an issue of math. People that did not need our services 4 years ago, who weren't on the margins, but were maybe just right above the margins, are now on the margins.
Okay.
These are folks that are working in agriculture, processing, maybe hospitality.
Sure.
They're working people. We got a lot of working families, and so they just need a little nudge.
Okay.
And we are our sort of specialty is we are a homelessness prevention organization.
Okay.
We're working to keep you in your existing home. Rental assistance is huge, and it's just economics.
Yeah.
We're just the cost of housing in this valley is pretty intense.
Oh, no, it's insane. I mean, it's just, I remember I used to run 156 units years and years ago. Yeah. Oh, and it was bad then, you know, but it's just what it's, and is it $1,800 is the average cost for a 2-bedroom apartment now
is
a month?
I check Zillow every now and then, and that's what you're seeing on listing on Zillow. People can find less. You know, you've got a lot of people living in inadequate housing because of that. They're cramming 6 people into a 2-bedroom. And so we're trying to help those folks. I'll tell you, so rental assistance is probably a big one for us, and I just got to find more funding for that. We got to find more funding. I've got some ideas on how we can do that. And also, one of the things that I would like us to do and tie it into rental assistance is working to try to move people beyond needing assistance from Serve Wenatchee or beyond having to go to Community Action or Upper Valley Mend. These groups that are doing good work in the valley, the churches that are doing good work in the valley, if we can find people more sustainable employing, higher wage employment, work on that with them, teaching people job skills. I think that's a new area I'd like to mine.
Excellent. Okay, good. All right. Well, look, we're talking with Mike Malman. He is the executive director of Serve Wenatchee Valley. Great organization, been here a long time. If you help them out, either financially or resource-wise, everything stays here in this valley. But we're going to take a quick break, come back, say goodbye to Mike. But hey, you stick around, Street Talk and other stuff. We will be right back. So.
A small-town holiday wouldn't be complete without a visit to an original American hardware store in downtown Chelan. Kelly's Ace Hardware has been serving the greater Chelan area for nearly 100 years. Let them take you back to a time where personal service and quality products went hand in hand.
You're invited to experience small-town holidays in iconic Lake Chelan. From local shopping to Santa parades, a getaway visit to Lake Chelan is a great way to make this holiday season special. Learn more at smalltownholidays.com.
I think that's a power line.
Nailed it. What the? Are you gonna call 911 or should I?
Actually, we're late. I'm just gonna drive over it.
Afraid not. Down power lines are super dangerous. If you see one, you call it in.
Yeah, I just drove up to a down power line.
She gets it.
Okay, again, we're back. We're talking with Mike Malman, Executive Director of Serve Wenatchee Valley. Mike, how can people contact you?
Best way to do it is go to our website, servewenatchee.org. Head there. There's all sorts of opportunities to volunteer or to donate. You know, December is huge for us because December is going to pay for January, February, March when donations are more subdued.
Okay.
Any help we can get before the end of the year, it's 100% tax deductible. You can go to our donate page. You can go to, we have a coastal thing right now with Coastal Farm and Ranch. They're matching $1,000. You want to make a donation
excellent.
there. You can actually give to us through the Community Foundation. All sorts of ways to give to us. Our end of year campaign is Blessed to Bless, and we'd love, if you've been blessed this year, help us bless somebody else.
All right, well, good. Well, Mike, I thank you for what you do. So God bless you, okay? Because it's good work, and I know it's practical work. We were talking earlier about how Jesus told us in the Sermon on the Mount not what to believe, but what to do. And Serve Wenatchee Valley is out there doing it. So I and many others appreciate it, appreciate the work you do, and You hang in there.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, Street Talk and other stuff. Thanks for being here. Now, I want you to come in next week. Next week is a couple days before Christmas, and also a couple days before Hanukkah starts. And my good friend, Jim Goodwin, one of our local members of our community of the chosen people, is going to be here to talk to us about what Hanukkah means. Hanukkah's a great celebration.
Fabulous
and you know it's
festival.
not a religious ceremony?
Festival of Lights.
It is, but it's not a religious ceremony.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that next week.